Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to another Not Funny Guys Presents Red Dwarf Rewatch. We are moving on in series, which one are we on? 7 now? Yeah, 7. We are on to episode, I don't know, let me pull my notes. 5, Blue. Directed by Ed By, written by Kim Fuller and Doug Naylor. And this episode premiered on the 14th of February, 1997. Starbug is traveling through a rather uninteresting region of space, you could say, and the crew are quite bored. They begin to nitpick very petty things going on in their lives. While this is going on, Lister is in the process of kind of like finding himself at both surprise and disgust that he misses Rimmer. And he ends up having a very, shall we say, romantic dream about him. Crichton's solution is to put him on a ride called the Rimmer Experience, which recounts a rather outrageously fictionalized version of what things were like through the eyes of Rimmer's diary. Also, the other subplot is Crichton continues to be absolutely infuriated by Kochanski, who is still trying to get back to her own dimension, which they miss out due to a comet, and primarily it's about laundry. So, as we say that, let's break this down. So we open with Lister. He's cleaning his boots when Crichton comes in to offer him breakfast. He offers him the usual, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't want spicy foods. Crichton immediately clocks this as he's changing his all for Kochanski because it makes his breath horrible. He then goes on to his running gag for the entire episode, his bit about the massive extra laundry load that Frank, Crichton's name for the washing machine, is having to take on thanks to Kochanski. He also complains about ironing a bra. Lister only really knows about practicing to take a bra off. Crichton then says, well, how do you actually iron it? The only way he can do it is by putting it on his head. And then they're downstairs in the kitchen area. They've walked in. They continue to complain about having to learn all these new things about women's stuff. Lister asks him about, didn't you work with women on Level 5? Crichton responds, yes, but he deleted all that. He is super passive-aggressive, but the moment Kochanski walks in, he's super polite to her face. And he was complaining about her putting the salad dressing in the cupboard. He had trained everybody to put it in the fridge. The moment she takes it out of the fridge and puts it in the cupboard, he goes, hold me back. Hold me back. It's absolutely hilarious. Apparently, though, the hazard lights have all come on in the cockpit, and they all go in there and join the cat. And apparently, they're heading towards a phasing comet. Lister decides that to save time, they should go through it. And the reason he's trying to save time is that Kochanski that with him has possibly found coordinates to get back to a dimensional tear that would let her go back to her dimension. And so going around would lose time. He decides to go through it. While he's about to go through it, Chris basically calls him out for how dangerous this is, like flying through a comet. Like, what's it made of? And he can't answer. It's ice. They're getting pounded by ice. Cat's hair gets knocked all out of place. Sargug is getting the hell beating out of it, and they force to turn around. Now they've taken some damage, and Lister's like, okay, I know it's my fault. Just say it. And Chris is like, you want me to say it? Like, just say it. My Dave never would have done that to us. So now they got to fix the ship. She's going to miss the dimensional tear again. Lister is going to go find some weight they can drop out of the cargo bay. He asks Rimmer to come with him. He's speaking to the cat. This is our first little hint of something else. So we got our two plot lines now. We've got the Lister missing Rimmer, and we've got Crichton pissed off at Kochanski, and we've got Cat as the unfortunate victim in between. So, not sure why he did this. Of course, Chris is now stuck with him longer. Crichton just goes to see her in the quarters and give her a rule rundown. And they end up finally having it out, kind of a confrontation. Meanwhile, Lister and the cat clearly go down to the cargo bay to reduce the weight. They find a bunch of Rimmer's old stuff. Lister is obviously missing him. He goes into like a memory lane about these golf clubs playing on a moon, for which Cat seems to have not participated. Crichton eventually joins him. Cat goes up to Crichton and complains about Lister like he might be losing his marble. Lister does a memory about opening lockers to them, about back on Red Dwarf. They got to keep whatever they found, and they made up a game about it. And one time, Rimmer's trying to think that Lister's psyching him out, so he picks one where he gets basically a flamethrower in the face, which was partly part of an anti-tampering defense, whoever the locker belonged to. That night, though, it gets weird. Lister has a dream about Rimmer beaming back on the ship. They're reunited. That claims, Rimmer claims he's fed up with the adventuring stuff. They do a bunch of small talk. They get super friendly. Rimmer is like more relaxed, happy even. Starts getting weird when they talk about Chris, and Rimmer wants to know if he's more attractive than her. They embrace, they hug, and then the dream is revealed when they go in for a big old smooch. Lister wakes up screaming. And like I said, between these things, it's kind of been a bit of a bottle episode, if you think about it, because we've got these flashbacks of Rimmer, which I think this marks his fourth and final appearance for the series, because I think he only appears 4 times. But we played a little bottle episode with some of these flashbacks and things like that. And plus, we're stuck on the ship. We're not really going anywhere. And so it's like all crew interdynamics. And so we have the episode with, Crichton, and like I said, Crichton and Kochanski going at it. Lister thinking about Rimmer, and Kat kind of just being caught in the middle. Lister goes to medbay. He wants to get himself checked out. Crichton's putting in his psychoanalysis chip when apparently he accidentally put in a German speech of one of Hitler's from Nuremberg, screaming and scares and startles him. He leaves to go get the correct psychoanalysis disc to help him. Chris comes in. She and Lister talk. She misses her Dave. He misses Rimmer, apparently. Talk about Rimmer's redeeming features. Apparently it drove Dave mad. It drove him crazy. And apparently he was meant to, of course, Rimmer was supposed to be brought back to keep him sane. And Chris kind of helps him psychoanalyze that maybe pushing him and annoying him was what kept him going. Maybe that was the point. She's now helped him. And Crichton walks back in the room, and she's now done his job. And he is absolutely furious. So we then cut to game night. Apparently Crichton is not there. He's going off to one-up her. Lister decides that since it's Chris's first time with them, that she should get to pick. She's going to pick the magic flute. They don't know it. Apparently it's about humming the different parts from the opera and trying to guess, where apparently all they have is a bunch of rude, disgusting, fart-based games that she just spells out random ones, and those are the ones they play. Crichton finally comes in. He wants them all to come to the AR suite. He has sort of created a sort of meant to be a therapeutic experience for anybody who is missing Rimmer. Like I said, he's trying to upstage Kochanski here. They enter the Rimmer experience, a museum to Rimmer based on his diaries. It's pure propaganda. It's like a funhouse ride created from the diaries. We see this purely propagandistic view Rimmer had himself. His sort of dumb idiot view of Crichton dressed up in like a housemaid. And then Lister and Kat basically being like, oh, he's a great guy. Everybody starts to feel sick. And it ends with this horrifyingly weird miniature versions of this little versions of him. It's like the worst version of Small World at Disneyland. Arnold, Rimmerman. Oh. They get to the end, and these little miniature ones of him singing, and they get to the end, and before we cut, Lister says, I never want to see or hear from that little so-and-so ever again. Cut to credits. So I think this is Chris Berry's final appearance of the 4 he was going to make in the show. So interesting way to go out. But yes, next time we'll be looking at Beyond a Joke. Now, in the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. Write us. Really, really good way to get in touch with us is at our email, notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Write us, share with us ideas, concepts, things you want to see me try on the show, episodes. Like I said, we're going to get to Blackadder, but we're going to take a side detour into news radio. Great little gem from the time, Phil Hartman's last work, and early Joe Rogan when he was funny. He wasn't, but he was just a straight man. That was what he was always kind of been good at. It's the only way he's ever funny. Sue me or write me and tell me how I'm wrong. You're welcome. Now, like I said, those are some things you write us. You can also write us about any of our other Not Funny Guys products. We have 3. We've got our main podcast, Not Funny Guys Presents Off the Reels, where we talk about movies. We're into our Jurassic Park run, which will take us through the new year. That will be interrupted at some point by a Christmas special. I think Casey has something peculiarly terrible for us to watch, I'm sure. We also have Casey and Eric, speaking of them, have my other Not Funny colleagues. They have their Wrestling with the Horror of It All, which is their wrestling and horror movie podcast. You can check that out. And if that's not your thing, we also have our Not Funny Guys Presents Thinking About Thinking, where me, your host, Dr. John, and our Not Funny gal, Dr. Kristen, talk about things we're thinking about. AI, culture, teaching, free speech, all those things. We talk a lot about that stuff there. We will be going on hiatus. We've got 2 more episodes coming out, and then we'll be on hiatus until January, the holiday season and all that. We both got families to attend to. So come and take a look at that if you want. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, share. You know the drill. Don't be a smeghead. Keep it not funny. And I'll see you next time. I'll get that right one day.